everyone, my name is Naomi Olutayo, and I partner with women to transform the companies to mirror the highest vision that God gave them with the power of brand strategy. And today, we're going to be talking about the cost of conformity. Now, I want to start with a definition because I am a word and etymology girl, so that's usually where I start. Conformity is, according to the Psychology Today definition, is a tendency for an individual to align their attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors with those of the people around them. The word conformity actually is derived from the Latin word. I don't know which Latin word, I didn't write it down in my notes, but it's derived from a Latin word, means to form or to fashion. Antonyms of the word conformity is similarity, uniformity, and sameness. So really my point in sharing that is, to conform is to be the same. There is no difference. It's compliance. It's gray. It's bleh. That's what conformity is. And conformity costs you because as a brand, you have a desire to succeed. Do you not? Do you not want to have the customers and the huge world that you've built around your brand and your products that people love, that people rave about? Do you not want people to be talking about you, to be purchasing from you, for you to be impacting people's lives with your purpose through this business? If that's what you want, then conformity isn't going to serve your desires at all. It's just going to repel you from them. So let me give you a list of signs of conformity. One major sign of conformity is when you've become another option out of a sea of options, basically indistinguishable from your competitors. And that's called commodification. I talk about commodification in the video, a business that sells products versus a brand. I'll link that down below. But essentially, when you've become a commodification of your product, you're basically just bought because out of ease, maybe price, maybe that's just what they've always used. There's no real differentiation between you and the other brands. It's just a product. Think of it like a water bottle. My water bottle, which I got at Marshall's for like $14 versus a Stanley, and they charge $50 to $100 something for theirs. They're both water bottles. And although, yes, I know the type of water bottle is different, but pretend it's the same one as a Stanley. What's the difference? Why would I pay $50 something from Stanley and not from this water bottle brand, which I don't even know what brand it is? Hydro Peak. Why does no one talk about it in the way that they talk about Stanley's? Why is Stanley able to pay charge so much for what they offer? It's a cup, right? Because they've developed their brand around it. It's not about what it is, the commodity of the product. It's the brand. It's what their customers feel when they purchase it, who they become when they purchase it, the community that they're a part of when they have their product. So when you've conformed, oftentimes you've just commodified yourself. You haven't given your customers any reason to pick you or go the extra mile to purchase from you, as opposed to a more easily accessible commodity. And again, that's conformity. You're conforming because you are not just a typical brand owner. You are a brand owner, a brand builder who has received divine inspiration for what you've now materialized on earth. So you're not supposed to be the brand that just isn't distinguishable. You're not supposed to be in obscurity. You're supposed to change culture, be influential. You're supposed to be the brand that's the go-to for people. But if you're not, because of who you are and who you serve, you've conformed. Another sign of conformity is drained energy trying to speak to your customers and them not seeing, understanding, and hearing you, which is noise and overwhelm. They should hear you. For example, depending on how many videos of mine that you've watched, you can hear my voice and you can know it's me. You will say, that's Naomi. I know her. You maybe have a spouse. From across the park, they can say your name and you know who it is. You know exactly who it is. Because they're distinguished. They're distinguishable. That's, your person is your whole brand of person. We all have our own unique voices. When you hear Mariah Carey sing, we all know it's her. When we hear Michael Jackson song, we don't even have to hear his voice sing the first line. We know it's his song because they're not characters, they're brands, they're people. And you know them. So when you are speaking to your customers through your marketing, your advertisements, or however you show up in your brand touch points, and they're not hearing you, understanding you, or taking heed to you, then it's more likely than not that you've conformed. Again, especially you, because this brand is not just a cash grab. You're not trying to use your audience to get rich and dip. This is connected to your purpose. This is a divinely inspired vision. So you should be seen. You should be heard, because this is the birthright of what you're building. So if you're not, then there's a place where you've conformed. The next sign of conformity is misalignment. There's a gap between your brand's true vision and reality. For your brand not to exist in its highest version of itself and to mirror the fullest version of what God has shown you is to conform. Because what else is there but what God shows you? Are you scared to get there? Are you scared to do what they said? Are you scared to be the outlier and to do what you've been called to do? Because really, there should be no difference. You should be in a continual pace to fulfilling that and bringing that about on the earth. The next sign of conformity is fear of failure, where you always play it safe, you never take risks, and you don't trust God, and you don't walk by faith. Everything you've done is so calculated and proper and correct. You're an innovator. You're a creative. You are a visionary. You quite literally have direct access to the divine. And your fear of failure is keeping you from walking that out. Because how can you be someone who has received this vision and built this business and fear the end when it's already been written for you? You can't fail. The next sign of conformity is obscurity. When it seems like you've been hidden, when it seems like everything you do is keeping you from, like, there's a ceiling where the people or your most aligned customers can't see you, or the people that do see you maybe not be the best fit. Your results isn't what you wanted, and I feel like you're hitting against this wall that you can't break past in your goals. That could be financially, in your sales. That could even just be in the circulation of your message and who you are as a brand. If you keep on hitting those blocks, most likely it's obscurity, and that's a sign of conformity. And lastly, the last sign of conformity is you lack impact and influence. All brands should be influential and impactful. And if you're not impacting or influencing, you're just riding the wave of the brands who stepped out and took the initiative to lead, to take risks, and to creatively innovate. Really what's happening when you lack impact and influence as a brand, you're being impacted and you're being influenced, rather than you impacting and influencing the industry, culture, and your customers. You should be setting the tone. You're the one God spoke to with this business. You're the one who received this divine download to build this. So if you're not impacting and influencing, then you're the one being impacted and influencing. And that can show up as you following trends, following all the gurus who tell you to do X, Y, and Z, as opposed to what you should be doing, which is searching yourself and finding truth within yourself and seeking God for counsel on how to navigate this. And if you're not impacting and influencing on a brand. Now, the 5 most common ways that we conform as brands is a good list to know. So I'm gonna tell it to you. The first one is obligatory strategies. It is doing what you think you're supposed to be doing as a brand. The biggest downfall, I believe, in business, especially for spiritual women or women who are more unconventional and neurodivergent, especially, is doing things that we think we're supposed to do, doing things the way they've always been done. I know that for the people that have been called to work with me and who I am, I was meant to be disruptive, and that word was very specifically used by God when He was speaking to me about what I'm supposed to be doing. You are meant to push boundaries and be innovative. You're supposed to be doing things that don't make sense, because that's what faith is. And I'm not saying just be irrationally stupid, I guess, and not be tactical. But what I am saying is having trust in yourself and the power that you hold to bring about newness and do new things and be a new thing. You know what I mean? Now, the next way that brands conform is toning down your authenticity by not expressing the fullness of your internal identity. What do you stand for? Who are you? How would your brand exist if there was no potential of failure or no backlash? What would you rather be doing? How would you rather things be done? If you just sat down and just really thought about it, how would you like to show up? That's your authentic self. And of course, we have to be careful with, making sure we're not, what we desire isn't just things that we do out of obligation, because that's the thing too, where we think that our desires is our true desires, when really our true desires have been suppressed because we were trying to conform for so long. But when you tap into that trueness within yourself, your brand will blossom, because that's what was blessed, that vision. The third way we conform as brands is shiny object syndrome, which is huge. It's basically where you just do whatever is accepted or popular at the time out of fear of missing out or FOMO. I had a huge case of this for a long time in everything I've ever done. Because it's you see people say like, oh, I made $1 million in one day, or I launched our new products and we sold out within 30 minutes. And they sound so dramatic and great, right? But then, it kind of filters off, especially if you aren't rooted in your purpose and who you are. Because now you're like, well, I didn't do that, or what should I do to get that, or I desire to have that, why can't I do that? Or even in visual identity and marketing, who do you admire in the brand space or in your industry? A lot of times we market the way they market, we talk the way that they talk, we do what they do because it worked for them. But sometimes you really just shouldn't be doing that, because that's not for you. It wasn't intuitively creative to you. And so you do that because you want the results, forgetting that the results that they got is because they took the lead and the initiative to do something different. You can't ride off of the backs of the people who decided to lead and go first. The people or the brands, the founders, the marketers, whoever who decided to do things and to experiment and to try for the benefit of their brand. This is your brand. Now, the second to last one is copycatting. It's similar to shiny objects syndrome, where you just kind of mimic other successful brands and what they're doing, and you're not being your own self. You're minding other people's businesses, literally and figuratively, and it shows. And it shows in how you present yourself. It shows in your lack of differentiation. It shows in even just your lack of innovation. And I'm going to keep saying this in all my videos. Why are you following when you're meant to lead? Why are you taking a seat back when you're meant to innovate and transform the industry that you're in, that God called you to? You check to see what everyone else is doing to validate your own intuition, rather than trusting it and executing it and reaping the results of it. Like, you're an industry disrupting, creatively innovative, trailblazing, boundary pushing brand. That's what your brand was always meant to do. It was not meant to wallow in the status quo. You wouldn't be here if that was the case. You were meant to transform and to change and to bring new things about. So you have to fully step into that to really reap the benefits of the brand that you're building. The last way we conform as brands is complacency and mediocrity. Complacency is accepting good enough rather than aspiring for greatness or staying in your comfort zone. Or, I guess I should say and mediocrity, which is unwilling to push boundaries, evolve, and stay ahead of the curve. Which is really, it's just connected to obscurity again. All those are really just out of fear and suppressing your innate intuition, which the fullness of your brand exists within you because it's in your vision. A lot of times we lock ourselves away from seeing it in our minds so we can bring it about, because we're scared, because we want to fit in, because we want a guarantee of success, so we follow what has already been written, which is understandable, but not for you. That's not your standard of excellence. You've been called to something different, and that's why you're here. Anyways, I would like to give you some reasons to be different. I want to inspire you to be different, to start doing things differently, and to start seeing things differently, to look for for unique ways of doing things, to come up with ideas that go against the norm and the grain, because that's who you are. You were always meant to build a brand that is bigger than yourself, and that's scary, but I know that you can do it because I trust the God within you to help you carry it out. You're directly connected to the source of all creative energy. It's possible. It exists already. Now, you should be different because every person who has been given a divinely inspired vision should fully actualize it, because that's your purpose. This business is connected to your purpose. You should be different because it fulfills the reason why you exist, your purpose. Your desire is deeper than money. So when you take your focus off of what you started this for and the true purpose that you have, you're going to chase something else, which is money, because you need money in your business, right? But personally, I believe that when you have been given this divine purpose and you carry it out into its fullest extent, and you actualize in your own self as well, the money and success will follow. Money is everywhere. There's no scarcity. There's no lack of it, especially for you. You should be different because there are people waiting for you to receive what you have. There are people waiting to energetically invest into this brand. There are people who need what you have. You're the creative solution to their problems. And when you hold yourself back and kind of leave from obscurity, it's harder for you to be seen and to be received by those people. Now, conformity is a cost, and it got you here. And I'm very proud of you for what you've built. However, there are multitudes within you. There's so much inside of you. And I believe that it deserves a chance to exist and be materialized on this earth. Now, if that's someone like you and you're 100% committed to building your brand and actualizing it to the highest version it can be and it should be, if you are a female founder of a beauty and consumer goods company, if you are somebody who is looking to build an impactful and magnetic brand with an empowered community and unique identity, I am a brand strategist. I also have applications below to work with me. I would love to partner with you and co-create to build this brand through the power of brand strategy into the height that it always had the potential for. I appreciate you spending time with me. Thank you for being here. All the links that I mentioned will be in the description, and I will see you as soon as tomorrow. Bye.